All right, so this time you guys have really given us something unique to dive into.
Yeah.
We're looking at a collection of over 600 dad jokes from the book Dad Jokes. Over 600 of the best, worst jokes around.
Mm.
I think I'm ready to groan.
Well, the book's title certainly sets the stage.
Yeah.
For a particular kind of humor.
Definitely.
It seems we're going to be exploring the world of intentionally bad jokes.
Yeah, it's like a celebration of cheesy puns and those eye-roll inducing one-liners.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm genuinely curious about? Is there something more going on beneath the surface of a so bad it's good dad joke?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to unpack here.
Mm.
You think about it.
Yeah.
Humor is a complex social phenomenon.
Right.
Dad jokes, with their intentional badness, might actually be a sophisticated form of meta-humor.
I like it.
Playing on our shared expectations of what constitutes a good joke.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. So are we talking about multiple layers of humor here?
Wow.
There's the surface level of the pun itself.
Yeah.
And then there's this awareness that the pun is supposed to be bad, which somehow makes it funny again.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that awareness, that shared understanding between the teller and the listener is crucial.
Yeah.
It creates a sense of complicity.
Oh.
Almost like an inside joke.
Okay, cool.
So even though dad jokes might seem simple on the surface, there's a lot of social intelligence at play.
Okay, let's unpack this idea of social intelligence a bit more.
Okay.
The book defines a dad joke
Okay.
as humor that reminds us of all the lovable, embarrassing dads out there. It's that classic blend of cheesiness and affection.
Right, and those seemingly simple jokes
Yeah.
can actually be quite effective tools for building social bonds.
I like that.
Shared laughter.
Yeah.
Even over a groan-worthy pun, releases endorphins, creates a sense of connection, and helps build trust.
Right.
And within families, that playful teasing dynamic can be a powerful way for dads to express affection and solidify their role in the family unit.
So it's fascinating how a bad joke
Yeah.
can actually be a way of saying, I love you, in a roundabout way.
Yes.
I remember my dad telling me just the worst puns imaginable.
Okay.
But even as a kid, I understood it was his way of connecting with me.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's about creating a shared experience.
Right.
A moment of lightheartedness
Yeah.
that strengthens the bond between father and child.
Okay, so even though the book is packed with over 600 of these so-called bad jokes,
Right.
maybe we should be looking at them as little gifts of connection disguised as cheesy puns.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
I like it.
And it makes me think about the specific types of humor that dads tend to employ.
Okay.
We see a lot of puns, of course,
Right.
but also a heavy reliance on
Okay.
misinterpretation and absurdity.
You're right. For example, the book kicks off with this gem.
Okay.
When does a joke become a dad joke? When it becomes apparent.
Oh, my goodness.
Ugh, it's so obvious.
It's so bad.
But I can't help but smile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's that predictable structure.
Yeah.
The setup, the misdirection,
Right.
and then the pun-based punchline.
Uh-huh.
That makes it so quintessentially dad.
Yeah.
But even in its predictability,
Okay.
there's a form of verbal intelligence at work. Constructing a pun, even a bad one,
Yeah.
requires a certain level of linguistic dexterity.
It's like they're flexing their mental muscles,
Yeah,
but in a way that's playful and non-threatening.
precisely.
Okay.
And that playfulness is key.
Yeah.
Dad jokes allow dads to embrace a certain persona.
Okay.
The goofy, lighthearted parent
Yeah.
who doesn't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah. I like that.
It's a way to break down barriers,
Okay.
connect with their kids on a different level,
Right.
and create a more relaxed atmosphere.
Okay, so we've established that dad jokes aren't just about bad puns.
Right.
They're about social connection, emotional intelligence, and maybe even a little bit of linguistic showmanship. But the book goes beyond just defining the dad joke.
Yeah.
It dives into specific themes and categories.
Yes, and that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
By looking at the different topics these jokes cover,
Right.
we can start to see patterns
Okay.
and recurring comedic techniques.
Okay, cool.
For instance, the book is filled with jokes
Yeah.
about food animals' professions
Yeah, it's like a dad joke buffet.
and everyday observations.
Right. And within each category,
Yes.
we see those classic dad joke techniques at play, Puns, wordplay, misdirection.
Yes.
And that signature blend of cheesiness and absurdity.
Let's take a closer look at a few examples.
Right.
What about this one?
Okay.
I'm terrified of elevators. I'm going to start taking steps to avoid them.
Oh, that's so classic, Dad.
It's so simple.
It's a simple pun playing on the double meaning of steps.
Right.
But it so perfectly encapsulates that dad joke spirit.
And then you have jokes like,
yeah,
Dad, can you put my shoes on? I don't think they'd fit me.
Oh.
This one relies on misinterpretation.
Yeah.
And a deliberate misunderstanding of the child's request. It's that intentional cluelessness.
It's like dads have this uncanny ability to take things literally, even when it's clear that's not what's being asked.
Exactly.
But that literalness, that unexpected twist, is part of what makes the joke funny.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it taps into a different kind of humor. One that plays on our expectations and subverts them in a playful way.
Okay.
It's not just about the words themselves, but the way they're delivered, the timing, and the shared understanding between the teller and the listener.
Okay, so we're starting to see some recurring patterns emerge here. We've got puns, misinterpretations, absurd situations. It's almost like there's a formula for crafting the perfect dad joke.
There might be. We've talked about the setup, the misdirection, and the pun-based punchline.
Right.
But what about the emotional subtext? Perhaps the most important ingredient.
Yeah.
In a truly successful dad joke, is that underlying layer of affection.
Yeah.
That desire to connect and share a moment of laughter.
Right.
Even if it's at the expense of a groan or two.
That's a great point. The best dad jokes aren't just about the jokes themselves. They're about the relationship between the teller and the listener.
Exactly.
They're a way of saying, I see you, I hear you, and I want to share a laugh with you, even if it's a terrible one.
And that shared laughter, that moment of connection, is perhaps the most valuable punchline of all.
I love it.
So welcome back to our deep dive into the world of dad jokes.
I'm ready for more.
I think we've uncovered some really interesting stuff, some fascinating layers beneath those seemingly simple puns and groan-worthy one-liners.
It's really amazing how a closer look at these jokes reveals so much about language humor, even family dynamics.
And you know one thing that continues to impress me?
Yeah.
Is the sheer variety we're seeing in this collection of dad jokes.
Okay.
It's like the book is a microcosm of dad's interests and experiences.
Oh, wow.
With topics ranging from everyday observations to history, science, pop culture.
That makes me think about how dad jokes often tap into shared cultural knowledge.
Yes.
Like you need a certain understanding of history to get a joke. Like, why don't they play poker in the jungle? Too many cheetahs.
That's a great example.
Oh, yeah.
It combines wordplay with a bit of animal trivia, creating this multi-layered joke that requires the listener to be in on the joke, so to speak.
And it reminds me of another one from the book.
Okay.
What do you call a lazy kangaroo pouch potato?
Yeah.
Again, you need that shared reference point.
Right.
The image of a couch potato to appreciate the humor.
It's fascinating how these jokes can act as a kind of cultural shorthand.
Right.
Drawing on shared experiences and assumptions to create that sense of connection between the teller and the listener.
I like it.
And it's not just limited to pop culture references.
Okay.
We see jokes that play on geography, like where do hamburgers go to dance? The meatball.
Okay, I have to admit that one made me chuckle.
It's so silly.
But it's interesting how that joke relies on a knowledge of place names and word association. It's like a mini geography lesson disguised as a dad joke.
Exactly.
I like it.
And that brings us to another intriguing aspect of dad jokes.
Okay.
Their potential role in sparking curiosity and learning.
Okay.
We see jokes about science, like, what did the limestone say to the geologist? Hey, don't take me for granted.
Okay.
Or history jokes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm reading a book about the history of glue. I can't seem to put it down.
I love how those jokes manage to sneak in a bit of knowledge alongside the pun. Yeah. It's like dads are subtly encouraging their kids to think about different subjects, even if it's through the lens of silly humor.
It's a brilliant strategy, really.
Yeah.
By framing these concepts in a lighthearted way.
Yeah.
Dads make them more accessible and engaging.
Right.
Especially for younger audiences.
It's almost like they're using humor as a gateway to learning. which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it ties back to what we were saying about dads using jokes to connect with their kids.
Yeah.
It's not just about making them laugh.
Right.
It's about sharing interests,
Mm-hmm.
sparking curiosity, maybe even planting the seeds for future exploration.
Absolutely.
I like it.
And, you know, another technique we see a lot in dad jokes is the element of surprise or misdirection. They lead you down one path. Building up expectations.
Right.
Only to pull the rug out from under you with an unexpected twist.
Oh, you mean like, what does oblivious mean? I have no idea.
Exactly.
You think it's going to be a definition, but then bam, the punchline plays on the word itself.
It's that subversion of expectation that creates the humor. And it requires a certain level of cognitive flexibility, both to construct the joke and to appreciate the punchline.
So maybe all those groans are actually a sign of mental agility.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, oh, Dad, you got me again with your clever wordplay?
And it speaks to the multi-layered nature of dad jokes.
Yeah.
On the surface, they might seem silly and predictable.
Right.
But there's often a deeper level of wit and linguistic skill at play.
That makes me think about how dad jokes can be a way for dads to showcase their intelligence, but in a way that's unassuming and playful.
Yes.
It's like they're saying, I might tell cheesy jokes,
right?
But I'm no dummy.
That's a fascinating insight.
Yeah.
It's like they're subtly challenging the stereotype of the bumbling, clueless dad.
And it also makes me wonder if part of the enduring appeal of dad jokes is that they offer a sense of comfort and familiarity. Like, no matter how much the world changes, you can always count on Dad to deliver a groan-worthy pun.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable.
Yeah.
Dad jokes provide a sense of stability and lightheartedness.
Right.
They remind us that it's okay to be silly, not take ourselves too seriously, and to find joy in the simple things.
And that, I think, is a pretty powerful message.
It is.
Maybe those dad jokes aren't so bad after all.
Perhaps they're exactly what we need.
Well, welcome back to the deep dive.
Back again.
You know, we've spent the last two parts kind of unpacking this world of dad jokes.
Yeah, we've been on quite a journey.
And I have to say, I'm starting to think that these puns are more than just cheesy one-liners.
Yeah, I agree.
There's something more here.
We've explored their structure.
Yeah.
Their social function.
Right.
Even their potential role in cognitive development.
And I'm struck by how these jokes, despite their reputation for being bad, actually demonstrate a pretty sophisticated understanding of humor.
That's right. We've talked about meta-humor irony and the intentional subversion of expectations.
Yeah, they're playing with us.
Dad jokes aren't just about telling a funny story. They're about playing with the very concept of humor itself.
It's like dads are these undercover comedic geniuses disguising their wit behind a veil of groan-worthy puns.
And let's not forget the element of performance.
Oh,
a good dad joke isn't just about the words.
Right.
It's about the delivery.
It's all about the delivery.
The timing, the tone of voice, the playful twinkle in the eye.
Right.
All of these things contribute to the overall comedic effect.
Thinking back to my own dad, I can picture him now, you know, delivering those puns with a completely straight face, as if he were sharing some profound wisdom. And that deadpan delivery made the jokes even funnier.
That's interesting. It almost suggests a level of self-awareness. A deliberate choice to play up the contrast between the seriousness of the delivery and the silliness of the joke.
It's like they're in on the joke, but they're not going to let you know it.
Exactly.
And that adds another layer of complexity to these seemingly simple puns.
And it speaks to the idea that dad jokes are, at their core, a form of communication. They're a way for dads to connect with their kids, to share a laugh, to create a shared experience.
And sometimes that shared experience can be incredibly powerful. Even if the joke itself is terrible. The act of telling it, of trying to make someone laugh, can create a sense of closeness and intimacy.
And it's not just about the relationship between fathers and children. Dad jokes can also function as a way to build camaraderie among adults, to break the ice in social situations, or to simply lighten the mood.
That makes me think about how dad jokes have become a kind of cultural phenomenon.
Absolutely.
They're not just something dads tell. They're something we all recognize and some extent, participate in.
Exactly. We see dad jokes on social media.
Yeah.
In memes, even in marketing campaigns.
But yeah, they're everywhere.
They become a kind of shared language.
Right.
A way to signal our understanding of a particular type of humor.
And I think there's something comforting about that familiarity. In a world that's constantly changing and evolving,
Right.
dad jokes offer a sense of stability and predictability.
They remind us that even though things might get crazy,
Yeah.
we can always count on a dad joke
Right.
to make us groan and smile at the same time.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And it speaks to the enduring power of humor.
Right.
Even in its simplest, most puntastic forms.
So to our listener, the next time you hear a dad joke,
Okay.
don't just dismiss it as a cheesy pun.
Right.
Think about the layers of meaning beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Consider the social intelligence, the emotional connection, and the sheer joy of sharing a laugh, even if it's a groan-worthy one.
And remember, dad jokes are more than just jokes.
Yeah.
They're a glimpse into the minds and hearts of dads everywhere.
I love it.
A reminder to embrace silliness and a celebration of the enduring bonds of family and friendship.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
But I have a feeling this conversation is just the beginning. There's so much more to explore in the world of dad jokes.
Absolutely.
And I encourage you to keep digging, keep laughing, and keep those puns coming.
Indeed. And who knows, maybe someday you'll find yourself telling a groan-worthy pun of your own.
You're right.
And that's when you'll truly understand the magic of the dad joke.
I love it.